Hi, this is Rachel Wright here from Burden Strategies. And today we're at Benzinga in Chicago. What an amazing capital conference. I absolutely love this crew. Patrick, Elliot, Emily, everybody, done such a wonderful job on this conference.
Oh, yeah.
And today I'm here with Jessica Ferranti. How are you today, Jessica?
I am good. I'm so excited to be here. There's so much energy here. I'm so excited to see so many familiar faces as well.
Yeah, and
Right?
you just literally touched ground here in Chicago, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
a few hours ago.
So I got you as soon as you got here.
You did, right? Literally as soon as I walked in.
Right.
She scooped me right up.
So I want to give you some space because you have an amazing, exciting announcement. So I'd love to hear your announcement. Are you ready to make it?
I am.
Good.
I've been waiting a very long time.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have been for many years helping to grow a variety of different companies in different stages, in different industries, as the chief revenue officer, as the chief marketing officer, chief operating officer, worn a lot of hats, had a lot of titles. And often I've been working for someone else, right? The last couple of years have been really enlightening, and there's been so much growth in the cannabis industry. We've seen a really big boom for a need for fractional executives. A lot of companies can't bring on the right talent because they don't have the capital, especially women-led, right? Women-owned organizations.
Yes.
And so with all of the changes and the evolution, both in my career and in the industry, I've come to a point where I've been planning my own venture. So I've made an announcement today, actually, quite literally about an hour or so ago on LinkedIn.
So this is hot off the press.
It literally hot off the press. Like we're ready to go. And it's that I'm launching my own company, my own venture, and it's called the Mycelia Group.
Love it.
Which stands for, interconnectedness, growing roots, creating sustainability, and like a structural foundation in the organization. And I'll be effectively both a fractional chief revenue officer, really helping to connect and touch any department, any part or sector of a company that affects revenue.
Right.
And simultaneously creating a C-suite network of other fractional CFOs, CMOs, COOs, CEOs, just different executives in the space that can be planted into other companies to really help them grow. Again, with a big emphasis of women-led companies.
I love that.
Women-owned. So.
Can you give us an example of a great client for you to work with, or a company that you could help to benefit?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love use cases.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it could be a company at any sort of stage of growth. They could be anywhere from 2 to 20 million, just kind of trying to figure out maybe which revenue streams to focus on, how to optimize, their operations, their client services departments, all the way up to larger organizations that are looking to maybe go to market with a new product, restructure a bit in-house, or say expand to a new region or location. Effectively, it's really any company that is looking to fully optimize how they run the company. So it could be, finding some sort of kind of link and connectedness between their revenue generating departments.
Yes.
Like, again, we're launching a new product. How do we effectively ensure that client services is prepared to support that product?
Right.
How do we ensure that sales, as they're building up their target profiles of who they want to reach out to, that they're using the right scripts?
Right.
And then how does that data, even from, say, the founders and the engineers, of the products or of the services, how do we taking that language and translating it into something digestible for the buyer through sales, but also through, say, the onboarding, right? The retention of that client long term.
The feedback loop.
It's a feedback.
Yes.
And it really, the thing that's so interesting about the chief revenue officer title is that it really doesn't exist all that much in a lot of organizations. And that's because, again, for many decades now, everything's been very siloed.
Yes.
You have your chief marketing officer, your head of marketing, your head of sales. And typically, as opposed to there being this beautiful collaboration, sometimes because people are fighting for resources, right? It's almost I don't want to say they're fighting against each other, but they're certainly not working hand in hand with one another.
Should be cross-functional. That's what I find.
Yeah, to work towards one vision.
So if you're in the C-suite, if you're in the C-suite as a fractional or permanent C-suite, all the C-suites should be meeting together
1,000%
on a regular basis to talk about problems, solutions, and things like that, because you can't operate in a silo when you're in a company. And so if a CRO is operating in a vacuum, a CFO, COO, no, absolutely not. I mean, I think it goes back to business plan. What are you doing? And then establishing ways for you to meet on a regular basis to overcome those obstacles, you know, have the feedback loop, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it's even more than just communication, because that's certainly one of the big things, is just finding different ways to communicate regularly.
Right.
Whether it's like client specific or project specific or general vision and mission. But it's also systems.
Yes, systems are huge.
IT, software, whether it's the client portal or how people are being trained when they come in.
Right.
It's the CRM, right? How they're, you know, managing their client relationships.
Yes.
I mean, all of this, again, very similar to how these titles and these roles tend to be sort of siloed and, you know, in their own vacuum.
Yes.
The systems sometimes are as well, or they're meant to be kind of created under an umbrella, but they're not really effectively communicating with one another.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's what we do, you know, at least on the chief revenue officer side specifically, is we come in and really do a full diagnosis. I kind of, you know, you're mentioning what kind of client is optimal.
Yeah.
I would liken it to almost a patient that's coming in and is open-minded when speaking to the doctor.
Must be open-minded. That's huge.
Has to be open-minded. Because really we're here to do a service to the company, right? To help bring it to the next level. And sometimes that's a little tough, right? For founders, for those that have been doing the same thing for a long time. Change is tough, but
it's
you know,
one of the biggest obstacles. Yes, that we need to overcome.
When you come in with an open mind, and you're willing to describe your symptoms and walk through the different areas that are challenging, or even maybe not know, and be willing to say, I don't necessarily know.
Right.
You know, that's where a chief revenue officer or someone, you know, on my team will be able to come in and effectively listen before we diagnose.
Yes.
But once we probably diagnose, find different ways to actually execute how that could be done.
Yeah.
That's another thing, right, Rachel? Like, so many companies have all these visions and ideas.
Yep.
And what's the one thing that so many are struggling to do?
There's a lot of things. Yes, but execute. Yes, that's huge.
Execute, right?
I'm like,
founders are visionaries.
Right. Yeah.
That's their strength. Let them lean into that.
Yes.
Right.
Let us do what we do, which is execute. 100%.
Have the team to be able to put those things into place. So
I'm very honored that you would actually come and break the news. I know you broke it on LinkedIn. But
just like an hour ago, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's been like an hour, so we're good.
I think this is your first announcement on video. So we want to blast it. We want to support amazing women such as Jessica, and especially in a space that's much needed. And so on that note, Jessica, where do we find you online? How do we get a hold of you?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm building out my website right now. It'll be ready in a couple of days. So probably by the time everyone sees this, it'll be the myceliagroup.com. That's MYCELIA group.com. You can reach out to me personally at 732-682-2648.
Yep.
Reach out on LinkedIn. And I'm basically at pretty much every major trade show across the country. If you see me, feel free to give me a tap on the shoulder and say hello.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Rachel Wright here with Verdant Strategies at Benzinga Capital Conference. And I see Patrick here behind the camera. Don't leave.
Don't leave. You look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rachel.
Thank you.